Welcome to Cackling in the Void.
My name is Ashley.
And my name is Kaylee.
Let's see if the void echoes back today.
We are two best friends diving deeper into the void. Did I say it weird?
No, I'm just laughing about the little girl.
Diving deeper into the void with chapters Iron Flame 55 and 56. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Welcome back.
Yeah. And we are really getting to the end of this book. Emotions are getting heightened. The climax is getting here. We're very excited because big things are happening. And that means we could talk a little bit more about, in quotes, our spoiler things in the non-spoiler section. So that's exciting.
It is true. A lot of this is very relationship heavy. So even though I'm going to rant about it now, I'm still going to rant about it in spoilers. It'll never end.
It'll never end. It'll never end. But that's okay. We have a good time. And we really thank you for joining us. We're very thankful for all of you. And we'll get right into chapter 55, which starts off with, well, we ended last chapter with her and Xaden really getting into it and him saying oh, you're finally ready to ask about the deal between your mother and I. And Violet kind of goes, you knew? You let me stew in this for months and you knew? And he was like, yeah, I've just been waiting for you to get the courage to fucking ask me whatever you wanted to fucking know. And
it's one of those things where it's sorry,
it's gonna be a long Kaylee rant episode. It's gonna be the entire
one of those things where it's I kind of agree with her that she's like, oh, you let me stew in it for months, but also he didn't know that that's specifically what you were stewing in. He just knew that you were stewing and couldn't figure out which fucking point you wanted to stew about.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
And, he does say, he's like, I've been waiting for you to break down that wall between us that you can't put up, but you didn't ask. And, she does make the point where she's like, you're the one that you said you'll never be fully truthful with me. How am I supposed to know what you will and will not answer? How am I supposed to know what there is to ask?
You just ask. It's simple.
That's what he does say.
Whenever you think about it, just ask. And that's the thing that for him, in his logical mind, you asking, hey, can we talk about this? Or what is this about? Or I'm feeling this way. Say something to me. Mm-hmm. Please?
Yeah.
Is still a question.
Yep.
And so it's I do understand, this is one of Ashley's biggest points. That Ashley always is he should be making her ask no questions.
I'm not
and
no
all
questions.
the things.
No, because I think that, yes, she should be able to ask questions. That's good for her to practice. Hey, you can open up in that way and ask the questions you want, ask these things, because that's really, really important. But it's also, I understand her point of how am I supposed to know what to ask if you won't? There's some things I just don't know because I don't know they exist. And then I figure it out later and I'm upset about it, but I didn't have a question to ask because I didn't know that existed.
But here's the thing is she knew that it existed, and she knew that it existed for a really long time.
Yes, with this deal thing, she should have just asked because she was so upset about it. She's like, his love should be enough. And I'm like, no, bitch, just...
Well, and it's hard to say it because it's clearly for you it wasn't enough.
Yeah, and it's also
and it's okay. Here's the thing is it's not about the love being enough or not being enough. It's just
you want
your
the answer,
own,
and that's okay.
Comfortability and whether or not you can foster a real, true relationship with somebody if you don't trust them.
Yeah. Yep. And it's hard to do that because trust is literally the groundwork of a relationship. Mm-hmm. Shocking, I know.
Yeah, it's fucking shocking. It's crazy.
Literally. And, he's like, well, the second you have a question, you just ask it. It seems pretty simple. And then, she does say, simple. Brennan is alive. You made a deal with my mother for my life. She put those scars on your back. Tell me, Xaden, is this the only secret about my family you want me to dig out of you? Are you holding anything about Mira?
I do love that line because she makes great points because, that's one of her biggest realms of hurt is that she's like, well, you didn't tell me and you should have just told me.
Yeah. And
Like,
he does say, and then he goes like, shit, I didn't want you to know about the scars. That's true, but I would have told you if you asked. And she does go, she's like, I asked last year.
she did, but I think also at the time that she asked, she didn't know about everything.
No, she didn't. She asked like right before the big fight happened.
Right? Like when they had
right
sex.
Before. Yeah. Yeah. Like right after they had sex, she asked, and then they're like, we need to go because there's people coming, and then it was war games.
Yeah.
Like she asked right after that. But then
right before that.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And then I can't change last year, and though you said you understand why I kept you in the dark, I don't think you've actually forgiven me.
There it is. Right there. Also, yep. I'm me. I also think that he has a great point about this because if you don't bring it up and you keep saying that it's fine.
It's not fine.
Well, but like, here's the thing is at the base, sorry, me being like flailing, at the base of, at like the core of everything, it really is if you keep telling me you're fine, I'm going to have to say, yeah, it's fine because,
and like there are going to be certain things that are smaller that it's just like, and you get annoyed by it and you're just like, it's fine. Like that's just how they do things. And you take a breath and it's fine. But there's a big difference of it being a little annoyance, and you could even be like, hey, I don't appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But until like it's okay for that. But like big things like this, it's okay for it not to be fine. And she doesn't realize that. Like,
yeah, that it's okay not to be
fine. Yeah, like there's gonna be days and months. Like relationships do kind of, they're like a wave. Like there are gonna be moments where you want to strangle and kill him.
Yeah,
but you don't. You still love him, but you're just like, fuck. You're so annoying. Get out of my face.
Yeah, and that's okay too. Yeah, and that's okay too. I just think that like the opportunity for both of them to ask these questions is just like I don't know, they just like pick the worst times.
Yeah,
like
but I also feel like
the thing is
like that the worst time like to have the argument.
Like it's just like one of those things. It's like when I say like the worst time is like for both of them, they're both already coming into this like dysregulated.
Yes,
they're both unfortunately choosing extremely like heightened moments.
And he does say that, well, I didn't want you to know about the scars because you would blame yourself like you've blamed yourself for everything that's gone wrong this year.
Yeah, because here's the thing is like
that is quite valid.
Yeah, quite valid. But also it's like the idea of Violet has this very large hero complex, and I mean, so does Xaden. They just show it in a different way. It's really, it's showing the anxious attachment style compared to the avoidant attachment style. Yeah. And how they shift over time when they're in close proximity. And it's just interesting because it's one of those things where it's like, you just gotta ask. You gotta communicate. You can't do it.
You gotta ask, and you have to be willing to like answer the question without like backing out of it.
Yeah.
In a way. Because she does say, she's like, well, you said you won't be entirely truthful. It's like, that makes it even harder to ask.
But here's the thing, is it's like, I feel like she, like, took that a little too literally in terms
I agree with
of
that.
Things like that. Because, like, I think that when he was like, hey, there's some things that I can't be entirely truthful with you about.
I think it's more about, like, running a ratio and stuff like that. Not... Well,
yes, but also, I mean, he did, like, it is, like, some certain things that he couldn't tell people, He couldn't even tell anybody, like, nobody knew, and, like, it's hard because it's I don't think that he meant it for, like, the scars. I don't think he meant it for, like, the question she is going to ask. Like, I just don't think that he meant it in a way that she took it. Does that make sense?
Yep, I agree.
She's just like, oh, he's not going to be truthful with me about anything, not even his feelings. And I just don't think that that's true.
Yeah. And, you know, she's like, and he does say, he's like, the scars on my back are not your fault. And yes, your life was the unnamed price for the marked ones entering the quadrant, but your mother called in her favor and I gave it. Do you want me to apologize for a deal I made before I knew you, before I loved you? A deal that kept us alive and started the flow of weaponry for the Flyers? I won't, because I'm not sorry. And that's so valid of him. I mean, like, he needed that because he's now, you know, running his entire cause.
Like the deal had nothing. I know this is going to sound really like, I mean, it sounds the way that it fucking sounds. That the deal had nothing to do with her. Like
it did and it didn't.
Like, yeah. But here's the thing: he didn't make the deal being like, oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm making the deal for Violet.
No.
I want to protect her. Like, that's what I mean. It literally had nothing to do with her. It had everything to do with, hey, how can I give my people the best chance of survival? Yep. How can I give my rebellion the biggest chance to fight?
Yep.
And that's getting into Besgaeth, getting dragons, and getting trained. That's what it is. And then not only that, is like they started the flow of weaponry out so people could like be protected and be safe and be sane. That's why when I say, like, honestly, the deal had nothing to do with her.
It had nothing to do with her.
It literally had nothing. His motivations it was nothing to do with her. Yeah. And yeah, sure, the motivation for her mom could have been her. Yeah. But it wasn't for Xaden, and I think the separation matters.
Yes, I agree. And she does say, she's like, I'm not mad about the deal. I'm pissed that you kept it from me and that you insist on me asking for things that you should openly share. How am I in love with you when I feel like I barely know you sometimes? And this is where I know we've made the point of it's very much a physical attraction relationship.
Yeah, this is where I'm like, yeah.
This is where we're seeing it actually come to head, and it's hey, we need to really, like, we're not communicating. Like, this is not healthy, you guys. Like, we need to, you know. And he does say, like, I let you live long enough for us to fall in love. Without the deal, gods know what I would have done in my need of revenge. Ask me why I don't regret it. Ask me for the first time I saw you. Ask me the moment I almost killed you despite the deal, decided not to. Ask me why. Ask me something. Fight back like you would have done last year before I broke your trust. Stop being so scared of the answers or waiting for me to give them to you. Demand the truth. I need you to love all of me, not just what you decide to see. So good.
And here's the thing is, like, it's hard because he is being like, oh, I need you to treat me how you treated me before I broke your trust, which is a shitty thing of him to say. Yeah. Because he did break her trust. That is what that is. He broke her trust to the point where, you know, she really, you know, a breach of trust is a breach of trust.
And that's a hard thing to come back from.
It is. It's a hard thing to come back from. But also at the same time, I understand where he's coming from because he's like, I need you to see me. Yeah. And not be scared of seeing me.
Yeah. And she's scared because she's scared of things not being fine. And that happened. Like, there's gonna be moments where things are not fine. They will be fine. That doesn't mean it's an end-all be-all. But, and then he does say, and he was like, I do love how he does say this, though. Because it wasn't just me who shattered your trust last year. Because you were too pissed about my refusal to answer the superficial questions about the revolution to ask the real ones about us. You didn't have a chance to find your feet before you were tortured. Because I came for you and told you that I loved you, and you decided you could admit to loving me, even being with me, but we skipped over this step where you fully admitted to trusting me. Take your pick. It's like we're still on the parapet last year, but I'm not the one worried you'll find something unlikable if you dig a little deeper. You are. But I really do love how he's like, because I told you I loved you and you didn't have time. We didn't have time to work on you trusting me again.
Yeah. I also think like him calling her out in terms of like, you know, I told you that I loved you and then you just accepted that and you didn't want to ask about it. And you just said that you loved me regardless. And here's the thing is that, like, it doesn't seem like it's regardless because there's still all of that pent-up emotion and that pent-up...
Exactly.
Like,
but he was right in the sense
feelings.
of, like, they didn't get to talk about it. They didn't.
No, they didn't.
She didn't have time to ask about the question. She didn't have time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also, like, I get not wanting to ask the questions when you only see each other for, like, a day. And you're starting this thing right before you leave. But, like, granted, ask the questions. That's frustrating. Just ask the question.
Yeah.
And if you just ask it, it won't turn into a fight every time. But because she's not asking it, it's turning into a big event every single time. So that makes her kind of close herself off more because she doesn't want to spend the one day, you know, maybe a couple hours with him that she sees him every couple of weeks fighting and making it this big event when it really shouldn't be a big event. But it's becoming a big event because she's penting it up and getting it so angry about it, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, I understand in that point of view because she's because of how she's not asking questions, it's getting pent up. She doesn't want to cause a fight in the one day that he's back. Yeah, but at the same time, just ask the question.
Yeah, but, like, here's the thing is, like, I get that, but also I agree with your other point. You need to ask the question because here's the thing is, like, those days are false. Yeah. That happiness is fake. That reality does not really exist, and you're creating this form of, like, this false sense of delusion and grandeur and happiness, and idolizing this type of relationship, and when all intents and terms that you truly deeply are not happy regardless of how passionate it feels.
Yep.
Because you're not saying anything.
Yep. And you know, she kind of brings up that Armoire quote of, like, oh, like, how am I supposed to trust you? Let's see. Like, how am I supposed to fully trust you when there's battle axes flying out of the Armoire left and right? And he's like, what? The Armoire? And he gets so confused. She's like, it's an analogy I use with Imogen. It's fine.
And he's like, Armoire, okay, like, I can work with this.
And so he's like, well, what's in there? And she's like, oh, like, my boots and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, how many? What's in there? And she's like, it's an analogy. Like, I open the Armoire every day. I know where things hang because I see them. She's like, what about the blanket my mother made me? And, like, I didn't go snooping. And then he was like, well, it's because you trust me. And she was like, analogy.
Yeah.
Like, still upset about it. And then, so ask the question, humor me, fine. Did you happen to have a battle axe? And then he, like, grabs a dagger and, like, shoots it at her, but, like, stops it.
Yeah. From the Armoire, because there are daggers in the fucking Armoire.
Yeah. And she just goes, like, what the fuck? And he's like, well, am I going to hurt you? And she's like, and she was like, I'm going to hurt you if you don't get it away from me. And he's like, would I ever, like, let this knife hurt you? And she does say, of course not. And because he, you know, she does trust him in that. Like, she trusts him with her life.
Yeah. Also, I'm not going to lie about it. Okay, the way that this is, like, occurring, I'm like, wow, that got really intense. There's, like, literally no need for a knife
literally
to be...
so intense.
Me. I'm like, there's literally no need for the knife to be placed like this. Like, it was one of those things where you're like,
I was like, wow,
this is it's a fantasy book. It's fine.
Oh, absolutely. This would not happen in real life. Yeah.
No, because if it did, and if one of my friends told me that, I'd be like, he still held a knife to your throat, and I still feel weird about this.
Yeah, literally.
And,
but, like,
this,
sure it's like
okay.
It works because it's
yes,
you know. But then he doesn't go like, hey, violence, and she's like, what? He's like, there's a knife in the armoire. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, there's a knife in the armoire.
And then he does go like, all you had to do was ask. Even if you weren't aware it was coming, you know I'd never let it hurt you. I'm not the one you don't trust. And then he goes, love, you're the smartest person I know. If you actually wanted answers, you'd ask the questions. Yep. Maybe you knew about the deal. Maybe the question you need to be asking is why you didn't confront me about it. So valid.
Because, we talk a lot about, why that Xaden needs to open up and Xaden needs to feel his feelings and Xaden needs to, just openly tell her. But also at this,
Violet does too.
There are two sides of the coin.
Exactly.
And if I also think that it is unrealistic for you to put an expectation on your partner or the way that you want the relationship to go and then not also do that.
Yes.
I think it's unrealistic for anybody to be like, hey, I want you to tell me everything and I want you to ask me questions, but now I'm not going to do that. And so that's why I also feel like the question thing didn't necessarily work out, because Zane was also not giving 50-50.
Yeah.
Like, obviously a relationship is never 50-50, but in terms of like also being vulnerable and also putting themselves out there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they both were really struggling with that. And, I do...
Losers.
I know. And she does say, it's like, because I love you and because I want to keep you, kept me alive those first few months before threshing, because you were intrigued or impressed or attracted to me like I was to you, and not because you made a deal with my mother, because it's horrifying to think that the only reason you fell in love with me is because of her. Maybe because you're right, and I didn't want that particular truth, since I know there's a thin line between devotion and obsession, between cowardness and self-preservation, and I'm walking it when it comes to you. I love you so fucking much that I ignored every warning signal last year, and that half the time I don't know what side of the line I'm standing on because I'm too busy looking at you to watch my own feet.
Yeah. And I guess, and this is also where we talked about earlier about how the love is toxic. In terms of, I view when you have a partner as, people say, oh, we're walking the same path. But to be quite honest, you're walking parallel paths.
No one is on the same path, because...
Exactly. And they intersect in a way that they are, alongside of each other. And your paths are now paralleled. But you're not on the same path in all sense of like the terms, but this is where like she's so busy looking at him and trying to keep him, and she's not looking after herself. She's losing herself because she doesn't want to lose him, and in turn she's going to lose him because she lost herself. Exactly. And that's just like a part of relationships, that it's really easy for somebody that has an anxious attachment style to do that. It's so easy just to lose yourself in a relationship because you don't want to lose them, because of that fear of not having them, and I just feel like that analogy is so poignant and prevalent, especially in their entire relationship, that she hasn't been literally looking up or at the world around her or at herself. She's just looking at him.
And she also, I do love how she was like, there's a thin line between devotion and obsession, and like cowardness and self-preservation, and she's like, I don't know what side of the line I'm walking on most of the time. Like, I really love how we're kind of finally hearing it out loud. And once again, it wasn't necessarily said, but it's showing how toxic that type of love is. And, he's like, let's put your theory to the test. You want me to demand the truth, to ask you something real? And he's like, please, like, ask me. And then she does say, like, what's your second signet? And his blood, like, drains from his face. And she goes, wow, like, I think for the first time I've shocked Zayden Ryerson. And I know you have one. You told me Sigil bonded your grandfather, which makes you a direct descendant. If a dragon bonds a family member, it can strengthen a signet, but a direct descendant will either produce a second signet or madness, and you seem pretty sane to me. Yeah. And, he doesn't answer. And she's like, so much for asking. I can't figure out why Sigil was allowed to choose you, and she got away with it. How you both did. And then someone's like knocking on the door, and he's like, fuck off, like during this whole thing. And then he's
Brennan. Like, oh fuck, there's a sound shield, they really can't hear me.
Damn it. Yeah.
And he just starts banging more incessantly. Yeah. And then Brennan open the door.
Like, we have an emergency out here. There's a horde of wyvern that's been spotted flying to Pavis towards the cliffs. And they're like, you ready to raise the wards? And she goes, fuck, let's kind of do it.
Yeah. Because
that's where that chapter ends.
are we ready to raise the wards because you refused to raise them earlier?
Yep.
And now we're here in battle and we have no choice, basically.
Yep. And so that's where that chapter ends, which, again, I know we've talked about it. I do like the emotional scenes like that. Like, where we really get down to that core, what the fuck is going on. Because I feel like, yes, we get that, but we never hit the core. Like, that hit the core of the issue, where I feel like a lot of the time it's just like, oh, this has been bothering me, and I blah, blah, blah. But this is like, no, this is the core, the center of what's going on, and I love it. So here for it.
Yeah.
But also, they're so toxic, and you could see it
they are.
So clearly.
They're so toxic, and you can absolutely see it, and you can see just... Obviously, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like you can tell that Violet has an anxious attachment style just by the way that she treats Xaden and the way that she's like, oh, I don't want to lose him, so I'm going to hurt myself instead of, quote unquote, maybe... even having the possibility of hurting him. Does that make sense? Like, she's like, oh, I'm going to just hurt myself. I'm going to be self-sacrificing. And then you have all of this like pent up emotion and this pent up anger or this pent up resentment or this pent up feeling of like self-doubt and unwant when it could be easily subsided if you would just talk a little bit more. But also, not going to lie, Xaden is an avoidant person and does just walk away or is like very coy sometimes, and it's like bro, you're not fucking cool. Yeah you're not. Like, here's the thing is, like, I honestly truly believe this is that nobody's too fucking cool to communicate. I'm so sorry.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely insane that you think that you're too cool to fucking talk about your goddamn feelings.
Yeah.
Don't
and it's
be
like
a gay ass little bitch. the fucking talk about your gay feelings.
Gay little baby dragon boy. What was it?
It's okay. He's just...
Our emo dragon boy.
Yeah, he's just an emo dragon boy, and he doesn't know how to talk about his feelings except for in slam poetry and songs and song and lyrics, that's what... bro? Like,
absolutely. And the hair covering his face and...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then... it's one of those things where it's like hey, I still think emo boys are hot. I have a thing. It was never a phase, and it's okay. But also at the same time, I'm like, hey, you should really like work some of that shit out and like talk about it. Because...
And this is where I'm like, yes, she needs to ask the questions and not avoid them, and she needs to be able to do that. But he also needs to be able to just tell her things without her initiating it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like, that was also set, like, she said it really well in this conversation. She's like, I don't know sometimes what questions I should be asking or what questions you even want me to ask. It's hard to be like, hey, this is what I want. Like, hey, I'd really like, or even just like this like communication of, hey, I think I'm ready to have a pretty serious conversation with you. I'd like to open the floor. Like, I know that people sometimes think that I'm like a very clinical person when it comes to like matters of like certain emotions where like I really am. It's just like hey, I think I'm ready to have a serious conversation. I'd like to open the floor. Do you have anything that you'd like to say to start us off with?
She said that to me.
And it's I know that this is like it sounds very official and it sounds very businesslike, but I know that I have to sound like that and I have to use that type of language because I am such an extremely emotional person.
Yep. Same. But it's also like, you and I have a very similar way of like communicating, like, hey, like, I didn't appreciate that. Or like, hey, like, I think we could do this a little differently. And blah, blah. We need to address this now before I get upset.
Before it becomes
and then you're going to be like, exactly. It's like,
yeah, and then you're going to wonder why I'm fucking upset.
Yeah, literally. It's like, I never want it to be I'm just going to use you as an example because obviously you're right there. Like, let's say you do something and I'm like, oh, it's fine. And then like a week later, I'm like, God damn it, it still bothered me. It's fine though. It's fine. She didn't mean to do it. It's fine. But then it's like, it pens up. And then you're going to be like, why are you like acting so off with me? Like, that's weird. Because when a friendship feels off, it is the worst feeling. I hate, like, I've been through a couple friendships where it's just like, why does this feel so weird? Like, it feels off. So off. So, and I never like, I hate that feeling. And it's just, it could have been, not every time, because sometimes something could just be so big you can't. But
Yeah.
Most of the time, it could be fixed with, hey, Kaylee, I didn't appreciate that you did blah, 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 blah. Can we talk about it? You can talk about it. You say your side, I say my
Oh
side,
my
and we
goodness,
go,
how
cool.
dare you ask me to communicate?
Ugh, how rude of me.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about
You know what I
that.
mean? Like,
you know,
it really, and it's, I want to hear your, because it's also, I'm very much a person that's like, I want to hear your side and like what you thought about that situation.
yeah,
So then I can say my side and we can be
almost like
oh,
why you chose to do that. Like,
literally.
why did you do that? Why did you do it like that?
And so it's and then you get that understanding of, oh, that's why you did it. I understand now. This was how I interpreted it. If we can maybe do it a little differently next time, I'd really appreciate it. Like, exactly. it could be, and it's, those conversations can be hard. I'm not saying that they're easy every time, but the more you do it, not the easier it gets, but you get more comfortable with that being in that uncomfortable atmosphere.
Exactly. The more it happens, the more comfortable you get with being uncomfortable. And
trust me, being uncomfortable is not fun, and it never will be. But you get more comfortable with it.
I don't know if I don't know, because I don't think that they do, but I don't think that the uncomfortable conversations will ever stop. In terms of, you'll have them less often, but they're still going to exist in a relationship regardless of how far in you are.
Yeah, because people change. Like, people change, they do things, and like, you never know. Like, something can be so minuscule, and you're just like, and that's also a big thing. Something that could be so nonchalant to somebody else, like you just do it, you don't even think about it, could be such a big thing to somebody else. And you won't know that until you're in that situation.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't think about it like that. Or it's no, I stand by my decision. I think that what I did was correct, and I'm not sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes
I'm not
sorry. I was like, sometimes that is the conversation of, I hate that you feel that way, but I'm not sorry. Mm-hmm. And I don't regret what I did. And, those are shitty conversations, but
and it's also like, if someone apologizes, it's also okay to be like, it's not okay. Like, it's okay to be like, oh, someone apologizes. It's like, oh, because a lot of times, I know I do it. Yeah. It's it's okay, no worry, it's fine. But like, there are some times where I'm just like, okay. No, like, it's not okay. I did not appreciate that at all.
Yeah. It's hey, I appreciate the apology, but it's still not fucking okay. Like,
yeah, and
you
it's
can
like,
keep
I
saying it, but it's not going to change my feelings about the situation.
Exactly.
And it's one of those things where it's that is sometimes hard, because it's I know that this is not going to change the situation, but also at the same time, like, that's not okay. But I'm glad that they're having the conversation, but it does seem to be a big theme for Rebecca Yarros, is that they have these really big conversations and then they always get interrupted by, technically the first time it was war games, and now it's a horde of venin.
Yep. So into chapter 56, it's a horde of venin, and everybody's kind of gathering, and Violet's like, well, I really hope the time we spend imbuing the stone is enough, and if I'm wrong, we're all going to be fighting for our lives soon. Like, this is a big thing. The second and third years kind of go to the front lines. Taryn and Sigale get to go to like a lookout point to kind of see where the venin and everything are, because they're fast, and they're one of the fastest dragons, so they'll get there first. And I do like you said, they always kind of get interrupted. And I do like how it's called out. It's like, maybe we're having the same fight because we never get to fucking finish it. Yeah. Like, they never do, because it's the same thing over and over. But it's also, they get interrupted, which like you said, it is a big theme in her books. But it's also like, they are in a war college, so I kind of get it. But also, they need to be able to finish this conversation. And you have thoughts? Continue.
No, I was just going to say, I was like, I agree with that, because after a while, the same fight over and over and over again started, but yet not finishes, is fucking exhausting. Yeah. That's the thing, it is exhausting.
Yeah. And it's like, granted, are there times where I will just say the same thing over and over, like, be in circles, but that's sometimes how I just need to process things. Where I'm just like,
you're a very verbal processor.
Very verbal processor, and I know that it can annoy some people, but there will be some times where I say the same thing like 3 to 5 times, and they're like, we've talked about this, like, we just talked about it 5 minutes ago. I'm like, I'm still processing, hold on. Please let me catch up. Because it's just like, I need to be able to talk about every single minute detail, and then I'll be okay.
Yeah. And then we need to do it a couple times.
And a couple times. Yeah. This is why you and I are best friends, because that's what we do.
Yeah, we just need to say the same thing a couple times in like 8 different ways, and then maybe we'll be able to understand it, you know?
Exactly. Because some things are just so baffling, and you're like, why? Why did this happen?
You're like, oh, okay, cool. I'm glad that I was like, that's a choice.
Exactly. And so then, Violet tells Brendan, it's like, hey, it's not the first 6 humans, it's the first 6, first 6 dragons, and they need a representation of every den. So, there's, I don't even know the colors, red, brown, blue, black, and green. Yes. Nope, that was 5. I don't know. Yellow? I don't think there's a yellow dragon. Orange?
No, I don't. Yeah.
There it is. And
all the colors of the Power Rangers.
There you go.
Orange.
And she does
no, they don't have an orange Power Ranger.
No, they don't.
I was gonna think back.
I was like, wait, they do. Back. No, they don't. Yeah,
no,
they don't.
They never
did.
Don't.
No, they didn't.
They never had an orange Power Ranger.
I had to think back in my memory for that one though. They did.
Well, because like the white and black Ranger got discontinued by 2004. Like by the time you probably started watching it. By the time you came out and were born and could cohesively watch Power Rangers, I don't even know if you did you. Yeah, but did you? No. I understand, but the next thing is, did you grew up on the dinosaur Power Rangers, didn't you? Which one was that?
I didn't watch that. I don't remember. We'll look it up after. I'm trying to remember. I really have to hunt my memory. Good God. Okay, let me look that up later. But they also do mention how a dragon...
I guess there is an orange Power Ranger. I'm so sorry.
There is?
I'm sorry.
How interesting.
So the orange Power Ranger is a rare color to be. The first official one was Fern from the Power Ranger Cosmic Fury. Oh, fuck.
Oh.
So Cosmic Fury was like when white and black were still around. Why don't I remember that? At least, right? It was me.
So while Kaylee's doing that, they do find out that once a dragon has done a ward, and let's say they need to redo it or something like that.
No. This is why I don't remember it, because I was like, was it? No, Cosmic Fury came out in 2023. That's why I was like, was this back in the day? It's just the I love that when you Google pictures of all Power Rangers, the show looks like it's been produced the same exact way since forever. And that's why I was like, this photo looks really fucking grainy. But yeah, no, I guess Cosmic Fury came out in 2023. That's
I have
crazy,
not seen that.
which is also why I was like, I don't remember Cosmic Fury, because I would have fucking remembered. But you know what? Whatever. But yeah, I was like, if you look at these photos, they literally look... They look the same. Like these photos and the way that they're... I
haven't looked at Power Rangers in a long time.
Yeah, the way that everybody is... Yeah, it's literally... It looks the same, which I love because nostalgia.
Yeah, for sure.
Man.
But once a dragon... Once a dragon uses its dragon fire on a ward stone, it can never use its fire on that ward stone again, which I think is really,
on
really
any other ward stone too. Like they cannot use their fire to raise another ward ever again.
Yep. And so it's like interesting.
It's one and done, which is interesting that's how the magic works. Very interesting.
And it's also, like, Violet does bring up the point. They're like, okay, there's only 2 ward stones created, but they never activated this specific one. And they're like, why wouldn't they use this one to protect more of Navarre? And, so they're kind of having that conversation. And Brennan does come over and is like, not only did you translate it, but you went back and retranslated it again when you realized you were wrong. Like, that's impressive, and I'm really proud of you. Because, I mean, that would be so frustrating if you translated the whole thing and you realized you were wrong. Oh my God. I would
and then
be
you went back
I never want to touch it
your
again.
entire translation over and over and over again.
I would literally never want to touch a book in my life ever again.
It would be really difficult. But, like, the fact that she, you know, she did do that because she did want to make sure that she was right because, you know, if she made one mistake, maybe she made others.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And, you know, she does say to Brennan, like, Dad, because she's like, Dad would be proud of us. Because he does say, like, oh, Dad would be proud of you. And she goes, he'd be proud of us. Which, again, I know we've talked about it. They really put their dad on a pedestal.
For sure.
They really do. And I think it's very interesting.
I mean, if you think about it, that is the interesting part, is because it does seem like the dad was absent for some of the kids, but there all the time for some of the kids. And then the mom was there for some of the kids, but wasn't there for all of the kids all of the time, you know?
Yeah, like it really feels like he was there for Violet.
Yes.
But he
yes, in particular,
was less there for others.
Yes.
You know, and so, like, it's really interesting of how, like, high of a bar they really put him. And
yeah, the pedestal is high.
Yep. And so they have, like, all 6 colored dragons. Like, Sigale is there, Terran is there, what's his face? Fierge is there.
Well, Fierge is Rhiannon's. I don't know Brennan's dragon's name.
I heard it.
Yeah, like, what color is Brennan's dragon?
Orange. Which is interesting, an interesting point, because the only 2 orange dragons we know were Varish and Jack. Solus and Bane.
What color was Liam's dragon?
Red.
Okay, what color is Riddick's dragon?
Red, I think. Atrum? I forget. Or is he brown? I forget. Can't help. Dad's biggest success. Let's see.
It's like Ashley has a really good quote.
Calf.
Huh?
Calf. His dragon's name is Calf.
Oh, okay. That's probably why I've never remembered it.
Okay, Suri does say, so there is a brown dragon there. God, I think Atrum's a red dragon, if I remember correctly. So, like, they're all there. They're all there.
Well, I didn't think Riddick was there.
No. He's not. But, I mean, like, the dragon colors are there.
Yes.
And they all light the thing. And they're like, did it work? And she does say, like, she feels the ward go. Kind of like when the dragon hatched. She says it feels pretty similar when the dragon hatched. And, you know, so they don't... They're like, did it work? And they're like, well, we don't really have time to test it. Let's just kind of go do shit. Yeah. And so Terran and Sigale fly to the vantage point to go see if there's any wyvern. And Terran says, like, hey, you have 15 minutes before Terran and Sigale, or Sigale and Zayden catch up. Use this time to ground yourself. Like, take a breath. Everything's fine. And she's like, you're not taking Zayden's side, are you? Like, she's still really mad about this. And I do love he says, I don't take the lieutenant anywhere. And I don't have time to listen to your romantic issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And...
Also,
oh. Also what?
Kath is a red dragon.
But I swear... Did you look it up?
Yes, I literally looked up, what are, like, the colors?
Look up Brendan's dragon. I swear it's orange. I remember them saying it's orange. And us how
according to this diagram, they're red. Unless I don't know. I mean, I'm really bad at reading these fucking names. Sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. But, like, why could you not spell them normally? Nobody knows.
Let's see
here.
Here it is. It's Marb, an orange dagger tail.
But whose is Marth?
That's Brennan's. That photo of Brennan is so scary. I am so sorry. Look at this photo of Brennan. I'm so sorry.
So then who's Kath?
I don't know. But please look at this photo of Brennan. Wait, hold on. This is important.
No.
I know, right? That's not how
immediately.
I immediately.
Unacceptable.
That was awful.
No.
Terrible.
No. Just no.
No.
It's unacceptable. Cause, like, I
But his dragon is Marb,
Is
an
it
orange
odd
dagger tail.
that I don't know if Violet is white?
Okay.
Do you think that they are?
I think Violet is. Mainly because of how they really fell into the club. Like, into how far they went into the cult. And, like, hiding the facts and stuff. I feel like she is white. I don't think Xaden is. I don't think, obviously, Rhiannon is. I don't think Riddick is. I don't think... I don't know how I feel about Sawyer. But I do think the Sorrengails are.
See, that's the thing, is I thought they would be mixed.
They could be mixed. I think they're at least half white.
Okay, that's valid.
I just
Me,
feel like...
I really have I struggle with sometimes seeing them because I mean, to be quite honest, I don't think that any of them are, I don't see any of them as being like super, super white, but I guess it does make sense if the Sorrengails are white.
Out of all the characters, I see the Sorrengails being white. Like, the most.
Yeah, okay. What is Rhi?
But black.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's how I see her. I think it says that too.
Hmm.
Do you not see her like that?
I don't know why, but I pictured her as like Pacific Islander.
Okay.
Like not like me, like Moana. like that's what I mean. Like when I say Pacific Islander, I mean like either like native Hawaiian, native New Zealand, native Australian. Like I picture her as like a dark-skinned person. Okay. That's valid.
That's kind of how I see her.
I
Very
accept
similar.
that. See, that's
cute.
And like I think like Yesenia is like Middle Eastern. I don't know why.
Yes.
But that's what I think that they are. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's
how
okay.
I see her. It's really interesting to get into those type of conversations because it's like, yes, obviously there's descriptions and like things like that.
I don't necessarily pay attention to the descriptions all the time.
Yeah, neither do I. It's okay. And,
now I'm gonna
and it's like it kind of influences
white.
it a little bit, but I think it's really interesting to have those type of conversations because it's so interesting on how people perceive different characters. Like how characters differently. Like I know a lot of people see Riddick not white, but not Filipino, and it's really interesting of how like he's just so in my brain, like it's embedded there.
I think I'm so sorry. Literally the second thing is Violet Sorrengail pregnant?
I do not think so. And also
search option, that's really funny.
What's it called? Rebecca Yarros confirmed that she will not be pregnant during like war.
Thank God, because I was like, why would you?
Yeah, she was like, why would Violet bring a child into this world like that?
But also, like, is that necessary?
No. And so then, as Violet.
Okay, so Violet is white because Violet Sorrengail is described with having white or pale skin.
Huh. Okay.
So yes, Violet is white.
Like Sorrengails are white. And then...
See, I imagine Dane being white.
Absolutely.
Me. I still stand by my fan casting of what's his fucking name? I'm so sorry. I forgot his name.
As we all know, like this book is a way of showing.
He has a weird last name. No, I'm not gonna lie about that. You got a weird last name. Just saying.
That was great.
Yeah.
But also, like, we know that this book is very much a way of talking about our own society.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very much so.
And so that's why I imagine the Sorrengails as white, because I feel like there's a lot of white people in certain cults.
No, you're right. You're right. It's one of those things where it's like it's really hard for me to picture anybody in this book as fully white. It's just, I don't know
anybody
why.
else. Like, okay, Dane, the Sorengales.
And that's probably it.
That's about it. Everybody else I kind of see. It does seem to be a pretty, like, diverse cast. I forgot the word. And so then they light the thing as Kaylee's looking at photos of probably everybody. And
yeah, now I'm like, I'm sorry. I need.
And Dad would be proud of me. Oh, and so then Undarna is questioned by the elders because she did kill Solus, and he does, and Taryn asks because Undarna's like completely quiet. She's not answering. She's not doing any of those things with Violet, and she goes, and he does tell her she's been questioned by the elders, and they found her reasons justifiable, but to kill another dragon is a heavy mark on the soul, even in defense of yourself or your writer. And he does say, like, I should have ended him I should have ended him then and not, like, just taken his eye. And I will not hesitate next time to do so in the future. She now carries a burden that should have been mine. And so it's really interesting to see, like, how much of a burden it is to kill another dragon. And how, like we said last week, you're questioned by the elders. Like, this is a big thing. Even if it's in defense of your writer or yourself or anything like that, like, it's a big thing. You have to be questioned and everything like that. And, Vi does say, like, I'm proud of her. And he says, as am I. And so they then, skipping forward. Oh, and so there is a riot coming of Wyvern and things like that about 20 miles to the north. And every bonded pair has been reordered and reassigned because they need to be able to communicate quick of what's happening, which is really interesting because we knew there were other bonded pairs, but we really haven't talked about it much. And so it's really interesting to see it kind of brought up again, and that Terrence and Gale aren't the only ones, which we knew, but it just seems like it is because we just don't see it so often. And she asked him, she's like, do you think he's right? Like, to say Taryn about Xaden, like, do you think he's right? And he says, like, I think he thinks he is. Which I think is a really good answer to that question. Because he doesn't want to influence Violet's emotions and have him, like, kind of, embed her with that type of stuff. But I think he thinks he is. Because he does. That is so true. He really does think he is right. And, so they land, and Xaden says, like, no one is out here. They cannot hear us. And she goes, I'm sorry, the reason you didn't answer the question is because you don't trust your own sound shield. And he says, there's always someone better than you at something. Like, he does not trust.
Which, I mean, I agree. He should know that. There's always going to be somebody better than you at something, you know? And it doesn't matter how good you are at it. That is what that is.
Yeah.
And so the idea of saying what that second signet is when people could hear, because it is so important. And he does ask, he's like, how long does it take for somebody to fall out of love with you? Because I want to know before I tell you, because I have no experience with this. Yeah. I don't know what this is like. And, she's like, oh, it would take a lot. And he's like, no, because I have a feeling it's going to take you all of 2 seconds, all of 1 second to fall out of love with me.
Yeah. And it is really interesting because, Violet does say, like, ask me, yet the first, she's like, you tell me to ask you things, yet the first real question I pose, you duck out the door like a coward. And he does say, it never occurred to me that you'd ask about a second signet. And she goes, liar, you wouldn't have told me that Sigil bonded your grandfather if you never wanted me to know. Whether it was a conscious or unconscious choice, you made it. You knew I'd figure it out. Was it just another one of your ask me tests? Because if so, you failed this one, not on me.
Yeah, because
which is really interesting because he does say, like, ask me, and then she does ask him something, and he immediately is like, well, it never occurred to me that you would ask that question. I'm like, sir.
Yeah, but I mean, like she said, like I think subconsciously you wanted it to happen because you wouldn't have
For
said
sure.
it. Like you wouldn't have told me that if even subconsciously you didn't want me to know.
Yep. And she does say again, like, I feel like I don't know you. How can I love you if I don't know you? Like she said
Mm-hmm.
it in the last chapter, she's saying it again. And then she's like, just tell me what it is. Like, you said you trust me to stay because even if I don't know your darkest deeds, I know what you're capable of, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
if you won't tell me.
Yeah. I
And
don't if you won't tell me, and that's really what it is.
yeah. And she does say like signets have to do with what we are and who we are at our core and what we need. And you are
Mm-hmm.
the master of secrets, hence the shadows. And she kind of keeps going on and on. He keeps going, stop. Like,
Yeah.
you're ruthless. Like, stop. Like, I don't, like,
Yeah,
stop
like
before you go
he's
somewhere
really
where we
like
can't.
being like, could you slow down? Just slow down
Well,
for a
it's like,
second.
stop
Just like
before you go
stop.
somewhere
Like,
we can't come back from. He really
yeah.
does not want her to know what this is.
Yeah.
And she's like, who knows? And he's like, no one. And she does say, like, who knows? Da 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 da. Like,
Yeah, because like honestly, she's really hurt because like the idea of that, she's like, oh, am I the last one to find out again? Like,
yeah.
am I always like everybody else around you knows and they get the privilege to know, and I'm just
Exactly.
always playing catch up, and like you never like tell me, like all these other
Yep.
people supposedly know, but I'm out here looking like a fucking idiot because you supposedly loved me and I still don't know.
Exactly. And she's like, do the marked ones know? Do the assembly? Like, am I like you said, the last one who's close to you that doesn't know? Like,
Yeah.
she's really upset about it. And he does say, like, for fuck's sake, Violet, nobody knows. Like, I deserve. And then she does say, like, I deserve better than this. You need to tell me. Like, tell me the truth. And then you always deserve better than me, and no one knows. Because if they did, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
And why would? And then she kind of processes, like, he's an intrinsic. And he's like, yep. And it's like, because she does say, like, stuff at, like, oh, I didn't realize I said that out loud. And he's like, oh. And he does say, he's like, yep, and that's how I knew I could trust you under the tree last year not to tell anybody. And
Yeah,
how
'cause I
I
could read
seem
your
to know what my
intentions.
opponent's plan is on the map before they move. How I know exactly what someone needs to hear in order to get them to do what I need done. And how I knew if someone remotely suspected us while we were at Biscayas. And, but then it makes sense. She kind of starts backing away. And he does say it's like why I didn't kill Dane after the interrogation, like after the interrogation chamber. And he's like, you're an intrinsic. And, understandably so, she starts like backing away. And, she immediately is kind of like, did you read me? Like, are you?
Yeah, how many times did you do that? Did you say the right things to make me fall in love with you? Like,
and he's like, I'm a type of intrinsic. He can only read like intentions. Maybe I would know what to call it if they didn't kill everybody with a hint of the signet.
yeah.
Which is really interesting because they kill everybody with a hint of that signet. And can you read thoughts or not? And he was like, no, it's more complicated. Like, I can read your intentions, whether they're conscious or subconscious. Everybody has that initial intention, and I can read that. And Taryn didn't know. And so then he starts getting, like, really low with Sigale, and, like, a wave of betrayal goes through Violet. And she immediately puts her shields up. She's like, nope, that will not influence me, not during this conversation. Absolutely not. And, he... there are some secrets that, like, bonded pairs can't share. And so...
Yeah, which
was,
I
like,
think
that...
it's interesting because, like, they describe this scene as, like, Taryn finding out, but then you also, like, they describe this scene of Sigale, like, flipping over and like, exposing her neck and exposing her stomach to him.
Like,
which, we see a lot in just animal behavior.
Yep.
About the very, submissive posing to, it, like, put to show trust almost, to be like, hey, if you want to, this is it, kind of.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, you
And
see it in dogs, you see it in cats. You like I said, you see it in the animal kingdom all of the time.
all of the time.
So,
And it is, I really like how she kind of puts those little things in there because they are animals. Like, that's what they do. So I do love
yeah,
like the
but it's
little
also
hints of that.
interesting to see Sigale like this because
She's never like that.
we know her as cruel and ruthless. We know her as a dragon that does whatever she wants, regardless of what other people say and what the Empyrean says. You know, that's how they describe her in both books so far.
Yeah. And, you know, he says like less than a minute, and she's like, "What?" And that's how long it took for you to fall out of love with me. And she just goes, "Stop reading me. Like, don't read me." And he goes, "I didn't. It was all over your face."
Yeah,
and
because he openly says, he's like, "I didn't. Your shields are up. I can't do it.
yeah.
Your shields are up. You're blocking me out. I literally cannot read you."
Yeah.
But
and, you know, then she's kind of...
I see it now.
Yeah. And she's quiet. And she does say, like, "My love isn't fickle, but so you better live because I'm ready to ask you all of the fucking questions."
Yeah.
Which is so valid.
All the fucking questions.
So valid. Because now the Wyvern are there. But I do want to point out the fact that, like, out of all the Cygnus, that's probably one of the scariest for Violet. Because what did Dane do? Last time she trusted somebody with her life like that, and he really betrayed her because he read all of her memories and stuff like that. And so it's, in her brain, she's probably going, what the fuck is this going to be Dane all over again?
Yeah. Which is, like, a valid feeling.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, such a valid feeling because she, you know, that type of betrayal is so hard. She literally watched somebody die for that betrayal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's like there's a lot of trauma circling around that. And so the fact that he can read her and, like, not have her know and, like, stuff like that, it's scary because she did that with Dane and she's already been through that. And so in her brain, she's probably like, fuck, I don't want to do this again. Like, that was such a hard thing to recover from. And so now it is like, I'm asking you all of the questions and you're going to answer every single one of them. Because now I need to know what you read, when did you stop, what is happening?
Yeah.
Do you stop? Do you still do it? Mm-hmm. You know, it's like there's so many questions.
Do you still do it? Which is one of the biggest things. And so I find it interesting because, you know, that is the thing is, when do you do it? Do you do it all the time? Yeah. Are you gonna lie to me about that? It's also like the idea of now that she knows, if somebody else finds out, he will be killed.
Yep. So now she has to be really quiet about it. Yeah. And it's also like with Dane, just don't have him touch you. Yeah. But like this one, you don't know. Because it's just, you can look at, like, if let's say I had it, I just look at you and go, got it. You know?
Yeah,
and
but,
so, like,
you know, he did mention that he can't break through shields.
Yeah. So
that,
he can't break through shields.
He read Dane because his shield slipped a little. You know, so it's like and not everybody knows how to shield. I don't know if they teach shielding. I mean, I know that they teach shielding in the second year during the, like,
classes. I know they teach shielding. Yeah. So they do teach shielding, but it is not on the forefront, I feel like.
Yeah, it's not nearly on the forefront.
But Violet really focused because of Dane. And
yes,
so,
absolutely.
You know, then the Terran and Sigurd are like, hey, the dragons are coming. We have to, you know, do that. And
Wyvern. They're not dragons.
Wyvern. Yep. And then, thank you. I meant Wyvern. And, you know, he, and then, you know, she gets on Terran and she kind of tells Terran, she's like, I'm sorry she didn't tell you. Because you could tell Terran is just so hurt. And there's hundreds of Wyvern and there's 17 Venom. And and they do mention, like, the Wyvern have holes in their wings. Yeah. As they're flying because they weren't finished forming. Which is really interesting. And I really want to see how these Wyvern are born because I am confused.
And, like, do they hatch from eggs? Do they just come
how
from
does
the
this
earth?
work? We don't know that yet. And so I'm really interested to see how that works. And, you know, the sage from Violet's dreams is there, and like nightmares and stuff. And
and she does mention it. She tells Xaden, she's like, he's here.
And he's like,
the
I know.
sage from Rustin
Immediately, I know. Yeah. And he does say, like, even if you don't believe anything else, please believe me when I say I love you. And Taryn immediately goes, don't speak of her, like death is a possibility.
Yeah.
We love that. And so, they're getting closer and they kind of are like branching out. And then they all kind of like fall and like die. And they're like, the wards worked. They can't get in. And the sage locks eyes with Violet. And like a lot of them just kind of fly off. Because I mean, now they can't get in. There's no point of, being there. And, like, they're going to have to reinforce, And so they go home, and Rhea is very, very proud of Violet because, woo! And her, like, entire squad is like, you did it! Woo! And, like, Rhea, Riddick, and Sawyer are all, like, hugging her. And she says, for the first time, like, Ryerson House feels like a home.
Yeah.
Which I think is really interesting that it's, like, now it feels like a home with all of her friends hugging her.
Yeah, well, all of her friends hugging her. And, Violet has openly said the only goal she has is to keep everybody that she loves safe.
Yeah, and she did.
And I think the difference between Violet and Xaden is that Violet loves multiple people, and Xaden only loves one.
Yeah. Yep. And it's also like we've said before, Violet's goal is to save everybody. Like, we're just going to use Erasure. Save everybody in Erasure. Her goal is to make sure everybody is fed, kept safe. If there's fighting, we're going to go fight on the front lines. I don't care if I die because that means I'm saving them. Whereas, and she believes Xaden has the same point of view, but Xaden is, I don't care if all these people in the city burn to the ground. I'm saving Violet and only Violet.
Yep.
And so that's where,
not
healthy, sir.
Yeah, but it's also like, this is where their ideology differs.
Yeah.
And
that's a big way to differ, because
it is.
What would happen if they're in a battle and Violet's fighting on the front lines and trying to protect everybody, and then Xaden is just like, nope, let me pull you and just put you there, because that's what Dane would do. And he says it, we heard it in a couple chapters ago, and he's like, for fuck's sake, Violet, it's so hard to give you your freedom and yet keep you safe.
Yeah, well, he says that it's hard to respect and give you, like, everything that you want and keep you safe, which is very valid. It's valid of him to say that because in some way or obligation, he wants to keep her safe, Yeah. And I don't think that that's wrong to want to protect your partner, but it is hard when your partner is extremely erratic and is not communicating with you. But also, there's two sides to the coin in terms of Violet can say the same thing. It's hard to love somebody and be there and support them when somebody's not communicating, and then technically they do have a plan, but that is, it's also really interesting. The plan isn't like up for discussion.
He tells her, like, to ask the question she asked about the second signet. He didn't give her the answer. And so they get back, and Xaden is like, oh, we need to go to the assembly. Like, they're calling for us. And, they get in there, and she's like, we need to talk
Mira
after
and
this.
Serena.
Yep. And she does say, like, we need to talk after this.
Oh, yeah. She does tell Xaden.
And, she does also say, it feels wrong that she has to have her shields up 100% of the time for Xaden. Because she is now, I mean, understandably, she doesn't want him in her head like that.
Yeah.
So understandable.
But it also does seem like Xaden can make a choice if he's doing that or not.
It does. But also, she just found out about it. I get why she's like,
but yeah, she just doesn't
until
really know.
Until we have that conversation, I don't believe you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is understandable, once again.
Very valid. We didn't have the conversation yet, so I'm going to still do things to protect myself, which very valid.
And I do also like how she says, like, I'm pissed that he gave me another reason to doubt my own judgments.
Yeah.
And this was wild, and this is something that I know that we wanted to talk about because we were talking about it during her prepping, but it was she does say, like, just because I can't imagine not walking away from, just because I can't imagine walking away from him doesn't mean I won't do it if we can't find healthy ground.
Yeah, which I think is really interesting and very, like, countered, like, what she's said before. She's openly been like, I'm never going to leave him. He's all I want. I'm not gonna leave. Regardless,
but it's also
his love is
understandable
enough.
because there are lines, like we've said, like you always have a line, like whether it's like your best friendship, like let's say like something happens, like there's a line, like it might be a subconscious line, you don't know it's there, but once someone hits that line, it's like, oh, okay, like now
Yeah.
things have shifted and it doesn't feel great, and it's, you might not want to have a line, but everybody for the most part has a line. And I get her being like, God, like again, he kept me in the dark about something really important. First it was
Yeah.
first it was the wyvern and Venom, then it was him doing the entire thing. Brennan. Like there's so many things that she just didn't know, and now this on top of it, she's like getting exhausted, and if we can't find healthy ground, like I'm going to walk away. Like this is so tiring being the only one really held in the dark about shit like this.
Yeah.
And she says, like, I'm quickly learning that it's possible to love somebody and not want to be with them.
Yeah.
That's a pretty hard-hitting line, too. Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. It's also like a hard lesson is like hey, you can be in love with somebody and then not want to be with them. Yeah. So it's really easy. It's really fucking easy, trust me. You can, it's really fucking easy, actually. There are some people where it's like, yeah, I really did truly love you, but we can't be together. It's not, we can't. It's not good for either of us.
And that's okay. Like sometimes
you just gotta like draw that line and be like, and attempt to move on. And for her, it's interesting because now we're finally starting to see the line, but it's interesting that we're only starting to see the line after she found out that he was an intrinsic.
Yeah, and I do think it's kind of like another thing just added on the pile she was in the dark about, but also this one is such a big deal to her because Dane stole her memories in that sense, and so now it's like, fuck me, you're gonna be like Dane. Yeah. Like, I think it's just, it was another thing added on the pile, but then it has that added layer of being like, I've already been read. I already went through this. I don't want to go through that again. Like, I'm tired. Yeah. And so it's like, it is interesting that was her line, but it completely makes sense.
Yeah. It's just like one of those things where it's like it's interesting because like, like you were talking about like subconscious lines. She didn't know the line existed until he crossed it,
Mm-hmm. And that's how a lot of lines are.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things where I'm interested to see what she really does. I'm really interested to see if she backs herself up or not.
I am too. Yeah, for sure.
But and then like you find out that the war, she sees Serena and Mira and they walk up and they were like, hey, Serena can still wield. She still has magic. So obviously something isn't working and the wards may not hold because I don't think it was fully done correctly, Yep.
And, Brennan kind of comes over as well. Oh, no, it was Mira. Mira goes over to her and says, Melgren asked for us to meet. She wants all of the Sorengale siblings. And at this time, they just think it's
it's just Mira and Violet.
And, she asks for whoever represents the movement, no more than 2 marked ones allowed, and their mom is going to be there. Yeah. And they're like, we know
because
it's in his
we know
favor
that there can't be outcome. 3 together.
Which is so interesting because there can't be 3 together because the Melgren can't see the outcome if there's more than 3 together. But it's really interesting that he's going to be there and he still doesn't want 3 together. But it's probably because he can't see the outcome as it's coming. Yeah. And so, and it ends with them just going like, something's wrong with the wards and we have to go to this meeting and Mother's going to be there. And it's going to be really interesting because all the Sorengale siblings, which they already know it's just Violet and Mira, but Brennan represents the movement. So Brennan kind of has to go. And so we're going to see Violet's mom see Brennan for the first time in 6 years. So that'll be interesting. But we're also going to hopefully get it resolved to this conflict that Violet and Xaden have. So that'll be good too. But with that, that's where our non-spoiler section ends. So if you came for just like our little book club reading, and if you just came for that part, no spoilers, you're reading along, this is where I'd say goodbye! subscribe because we're going to get into some pretty heavy spoilers. And so thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. We really appreciate it. We also have a email list now, so if you want to see some behind the scene content, polls, Q&As, and we have a couple really fun things that we're planning on that if you're on the email list you can be a part of. So keep an eye out for that because that's going to be super, super exciting. We're really excited for it. And we also have a buy me a coffee, so if you really enjoy us and you want to support us in that way, we'd really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And now we're going to jump on into our spoilers. And if you guys are joining us here for our spoilers, thank you guys so much for joining in and tuning in with us. I hope you guys are really loving it. But we're going to jump in with our spoilers as we always do with our beginning excerpts.
Which were really interesting. One of them I was like, how interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is for chapter 55. So we're doing 55 and 56. Mm-hmm. And this says, nothing kills powerful, unshakable love faster than opposing ideologies.
There it is.
The Journal of Warwick of Lucerys, translated by cadets Violet Sorrengail and Dana Atos, which I know that we've mentioned, and we literally just said it, where they have really, really opposing ideologies, where Violet wants to protect everybody, and Xaden wants to just protect Violet. He doesn't care if Tyrion Door burns. Violet cares if citizens die.
Yeah, but not only that is, it's interesting that it's written in Warwick's journal because we find out later
Thank you.
that Warwick and, I want to call her Lilith, but it's not, it's,
oh my god.
And I also, like, all of a sudden Lysandra popped in my head, but that's not the right
same.
book.
That's the other book. I'm scrolling.
Lyra. There it is. That we know that later on that we find out that Lyra and Warwick had opposing ideas too, and they were supposedly also in love.
And so it's really interesting to see. I'm so excited.
It's also like, it's one of those things where it's like we could also think about it as is the past going to repeat itself? We don't know like the actual history behind Warwick and Lyra because we're getting it as we go from Violet's point of view, and we're not like in Yesenia's head or in somebody else's head, and
unless there's like a chapter or two where it's a different
exactly
point of view, but we are in Violet's head, so as she's figuring things out, we are figuring things out, which again I think works super well for this series. I feel like if it was omniscient, it would work, but it wouldn't be as like how interesting, like figuring pieces out.
And you know, Ashley made a good point when we were doing notes about how she really does believe that these chapters really prove how unreliable of a narrator Violet is.
Mm-hmm. Because it's, yes, we obviously have talked about how they're a very toxic couple, both on Violet and Xaden's side, but like, we're seeing everything from Violet's point of view. We're seeing in her head. So she's like, how dare he? How dare he do this? And how dare he do this? And all blah, 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 blah. Which is valid. That is her thought. She can think that. That's completely fine. But because we're seeing in her head and we're hearing those little things like, I deserve better than this, and blah, 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 we're naturally going to have more of a bias towards Violet because we're getting those inner thoughts, and her, you can feel like, because we're getting those inner thoughts, we're getting the, wow, that really hurt, that he's still keeping shit from me. You know what I mean? And like, in turn, because of that, he's keeping shit from the readers.
Yeah.
And so because we're seeing it through Violet's eyes, he's keeping it from Violet. He's keeping it from the readers. And therefore, we're gonna be more biased towards Violet. But it shows how unreliable she is because she is so in her head about things. And she doesn't know everything. And so it's very interesting that that's happening. And it's also, okay, I have to talk about that after the beginning excerpt.
Oh, okay. Next beginning excerpt.
The next beginning excerpt. This one I thought was really interesting.
Okay.
It was never our continent. From the very beginning, it was theirs, and were simply allowed to live here.
Dragons.
Or Venom.
See, I don't think so. Who wrote that?
The Journal of Warwick of Lucerys.
Yeah, no. I honestly think that it was dragons. Because if you think
about
it...
I think it's so...
Well, because they were the first 6.
That's true. So it could be dragons, but also it really could... Because we knew
Because here's the thing, is like...
We're alive at that point.
without humans, venom would not exist.
That's true. So it probably is dragon. Yeah, you're right.
So that's where I'm like, oh, it can't be the venom. It has to be the dragons, because without humans, venom would never exist.
Do you think they wouldn't be
on the continent?
Warwick?
Is Warwick? I've really thought about it. I was
just like, how interesting,
because it would be interesting if it's Lyra and Warwick, because the other stage is a female.
Turned.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the other stage is a female.
How interesting! I feel like that's a really interesting point. Like, what if it is?
Yeah,
Warwick. Because I know that there's the theory that it's Naolan. There's the theory that it's Asher, Violet's dad.
It's not. He's dead. We saw the body.
We saw the body. We didn't. There's a chance Naolan is alive.
I don't know if Naolan is the head venom dude man, or if he is like works for head venom man.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
But it's also, I think it'll be interesting because we know that him and Brennan kind of had a romance going.
Gay.
They are gay. I know.
They're so gay.
Like, imagine Brennan seeing Naolan for the first time after thinking he's dead too.
But here's the thing: does Brennan think he's dead?
That too, because we don't know what happened. We know Kaori was there. We know that he has a ruin on his hand. Mm-hmm. We know that Naolan was a siphon. So I think Naolan like pulled through Brennan and siphoned his life like into him. But then yet doing that maybe became a venom. Who knows? And then maybe if he became a venom during imbuing what's his face, Brennan, does that mean Brennan is some part venom because he imbued some venom into him?
I mean, yeah, that is a big theory. Ashley,
interesting.
Ashley hates Brennan.
I don't hate him. There are moments, but I just think he's hiding something. I don't trust him. But like in this reread, I trust him more than the first time. But I feel like something is up with Brennan.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that something is up, and there is like that theory that he is like half venom. I do think that he has the rune on his hand, because it does talk about in the other beginning excerpts that only siphons are natural imbuers.
Yep.
And it does seem like every item that they imbue has to have a very specific rune on it.
Yeah.
So it would make sense why Brennan has the rune on him if he was forcefully brought back to life in the way of pushing power through them. Like, is Brennan even alive? Or is Brennan and basically an imbued stone?
Oh.
Like an animated thing.
That would be interesting. Because it's also, that would kind of, because he doesn't show emotion. Think about it. He does a little bit.
Yeah.
But that would be interesting if he was just like an imbued stone. Like, obviously living in quotes, but like.
Yeah. But like very similar to Jack. And, he's like, I'm
venom,
alive,
100%.
but I'm not alive. But I mean, probably half venom, like you said, like,
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but that's
either.
The other thing is like, I do think that Naolan is alive, or some weird hippie shit happened, and like now Brennan and Naolan are like the same person. Like Naolan pushed his entire consciousness into Brennan.
Okay.
To save
How
him.
interesting.
Gay lovers.
Gay lovers. 100%. I mean, it even says gay lovers.
No, they are. They're gay.
100%.
I don't care. They're gay. I also like, it's also like interesting to think about it, because when Brennan and Naolan were in the quadrant, Sigale was not bonded.
Yeah. Because Sigale bonded Xanden's grandfather.
Mm-hmm. Didn't bond.
Bonded
and
Xaden.
Then bonded Xaden. Because if she bonded before she bonded Xaden, then it wouldn't have been a direct line, and then the second signet wouldn't have manifested.
Mm-hmm.
But then we also think about, what about all of the other, like...
marked ones? Because we know that
marked
the
ones,
dragons are currently marking... We figure out at the end of the book of
Yeah.
3, that the marked ones are all bonding in pretty much a direct line. And so a
Yeah.
lot of them have second
second
signet.
signets.
So the dragons are also planning something.
Yeah, because like we know for a fact Liam had a second signet.
Yeah.
We saw it.
Yeah, it was Ice.
Yeah.
'Cause
Ice
he
and the looking.
wheel, like, Farsight.
Yeah, that's right. I was
And
like the
I know
looking really
Imogen
far.
has a second signet, but I don't remember what her first signet is.
Who?
Imogen? She can,
The
like, move stone. Or is it not?
the power to like erase people's memories.
That's
other
it.
one.
So she has the power to erase people's memory, and she also can, like, move stone.
Kind of like Ree.
No, because Ree can teleport things.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and also
I'm
I'm really interested. I'm really interested to see because they kind of mentioned that if a dragon bonds even within the same familial line, that their signets may become more powerful, regardless if it's direct or not. So I'm interested to see how strong Ree's signet gets.
Yeah.
Or if she does develop a second signet.
Yeah. Okay, so Imogen's second signet is Earth, or like rock wielding. So like she can like manipulate the ground and stuff.
She's an earthbender.
Earthbender. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
And so I do agree. It'll be interesting to see how all these second signets kind of come and who gets them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it'll be interesting if Ree gets one. And then I know we've talked about it 1,000 times, but we're gonna bring it back up. Their relationship is so toxic.
Their relationship is so toxic.
The line that she drew, like, it's so interesting how she draws the line here subconsciously, and yet she has to draw the line later with what's his face, Riddick. We love him, sorry, Riddick. And how she's like, God, I don't want to draw this line. So it's so interesting to me how she kind of goes from, I want, like, if we can't find healthy ground, I am going to walk away. Like, I know it'll hurt like hell, but I would do it because it's possible to love somebody and not be with them. And then in Onyx Storm, when she has to draw the line, she's like, okay, if he kills if he hurts or kills one of my friends or me or family, that's no longer Xaden. And so it'll be, then kind of circling back.
But then we see the difference. Yeah, but we see the difference in their ideology right there. The way that Violet is like, oh, he could hurt me. It's okay if he murders me. It's okay if he like throws me up against the wall and bashes my fucking head in. But the moment he touches my friends, then we have the issue.
Well, she also does say if he hurts me or my friends or family.
Yeah, and it's just like
but the difference in ideology is really interesting.
Yeah,
you know that
is very much there, and it is like, you know, setting up the you know, in this beginning excerpt where it does say the thing that kills true love the most is the difference of ideology. Are they talking about Xaden? Like, are they talking about Violet and Xaden, or are they talking about Taryn and Sigale?
Ooh, that's so interesting.
Well, because like here's the thing is like if we look at it, we start seeing more and more that Taryn and Sigale differ.
Yeah.
In what they're willing to do for the cause. They differ
it's really interesting
in their ideologies.
They're very similar to their writers. And so I really think it's going to be a lover to enemies with both of them.
Yeah, me. I don't
More
think...
Taryn and Sigale.
I think it's just going to be Taryn and Sigale because once again, the way that it's being set up... Romeo and Juliet.
It is going to be Romeo and Juliet. But there is going to be a fight between Xaden and Violet. Because
absolutely, yeah.
He married her without her knowing.
Yes. I mean, and
he's going to kill her friends.
Well, yeah, but like here's the thing. Is like that's when in Romeo and Juliet they do fight. Absolutely. They do secretly get married and then they fight and then he goes and he kills her cousin Tybalt. And she's like, I don't know if I could be with you because you hurt one of my family. How could you do this? I'm going to break up with you. And then she's like, he whispers sweet nothings to her. Mm-hmm. Me. And like, you know, he basically convinces her like, he, you know, apologizes and is like, oh, you know, you're right. Like, I shouldn't have done that. I let my anger get out of control and that wasn't me. And he goes on about how basically infliction of the mind has clouded him. And so there you once again,
it is. I do think it is
the
for
parallels
sure. It has
to Romeo and Juliet.
Many there have been. Yeah, no, literally.
Yeah. So the parallels to Romeo and Juliet are very large, to the point where I am like, come on, guys. That's why I'm like, oh no, it wouldn't be true lovers to enemies for Violet and Xaden, because still at the end of Romeo and Juliet, they have that fight. They have her wrestle with the idea, like Juliet has to wrestle with the idea, the fact that Romeo killed her cousin, one of her closest cousins. And now her entire family wants him dead and wants him exiled and wants him gone.
Yeah.
And now she has to wrestle with that idea of, do I want to do that? And she is so besotted by herself that she can't decide between her family and him. And in the end, you see her, you know, because she already has the vial at that point. You see her wrestle with that point, and she's like, you know what? No, I love him enough to do this. I want to be with him regardless of who he hurt, regardless of my family, and regardless of my lines, morals, or values that I drew earlier in the play. Yeah. Because she does kind of say it. She's like, oh, I don't know if I could be with him if he was like this. Yeah. But then she shows her that he is exactly what she didn't want, and she still fucking stayed, and she still like falsely killed herself, and then he killed her, like, himself, and then she killed herself after. Yep. So it's one of those things where it's
I think she is gonna,
they never get the real they never get the real love story.
No.
That they wanted. Because honestly, the picture perfect love story that they wanted was, I'm gonna take this potion, he's gonna find me, wake me up, and then we're gonna run away together happily ever after. That's not he sees her and is like, exactly kind of what Xaden does is I'm looking at your face and I can tell that you're out of love, regardless of actually if that's how she feels or not. But he sees her, takes it at face value, and says, she's gone. There's no possible way I can get to her except for this way. Yep. And so it's in all sense of the words, regardless, Romeo and Juliet is a tragedy. When you know, speaking of it literally, Avery's gonna hate that word, but it's okay. When speaking about it in a literary context.
There you go.
That's how the sentence should have gone. Good job, Kaylee. Good job. It is a tragedy. It's not a love story. And you know, Shakespeare has a big tell of what is a comedy and what is a tragedy. Yeah. And regardless of how much love and romance it is going to be a tragedy. And that's what this book should be. Yeah. Should be a breaking down literally should be a tragedy.
It should. And I feel like that's where she is heading, because I know that you and I have talked about how we have Rebecca Yarros and like us have very similar, you know, ways of like, a happy ending.
Yeah, you know, that would be a really happy ending.
We'll have a happy ending. It could just be so tragic up until that point.
I also, something I did want to bring up is it's so interesting because when they're going to fire the Wardstone, she openly is like, oh, where's Indarna? Because she wanted Indarna there. And if we think about it, if Indarna was there and she participated, the Wardstone would have worked. Yeah. You know? And it's also interesting that they say this about the dragons, and they're like, oh, we need one of every color. And the dragons don't say shit.
They don't say shit. Nothing.
They don't say absolute shit that there's like, maybe there's a seventh one of us. Like, they literally don't say anything. And like, if you think about it, even throughout the entire thing, Taryn and Sigale know. Taryn and Sigale know that she's an Irid. That's why Taryn was like, I can't stop you from bonding. You know, you are the master of your own nest, and I can't say otherwise.
And it's so interesting, and that's where again, Violet
but they still don't say it
because
Violet and you know, and Darna doesn't even say it to her. And Darna is like, oh, I would like to erase that part of me, and I think that that's one of those things where it's like, if she was there, things in this battle might have gone differently, and Erasure would have wards instead of them going over and doing and like reinforcing Basgiaths instead.
Yeah. And it is also, I think it is a really, really cute detail. I know it's in Onyx Storm, but a cute detail of, you know, or is it in this book? I don't remember. But where Darna's like, oh, like, I wanted to be like Terran because he was big and strong.
It's in Onyx.
Is it?
It's in Onyx.
That's
when
what I thought.
when she's confronted with the other Irid and was like, why do you look like that? Why did you choose that tail?
Yeah.
Why are you putting on a shade that's not yours?
Yeah. And I think it's really cute how she's like, well, Terran is like, it's such a role model for her. Yeah, and I think
it's interesting because she wants to be like Terran and Sigale so badly. Yes, Terran is a role model in the way that she wants to like be as strong and like look like him and be as like ruthless and fearful and loving, but also in a lot of sense of terms, she's like, oh, I want to be nearly as ruthless as Sigale.
Yeah, so it's really interesting.
We're kind of starting to see it when she quote unquote breaks the bond. I put it in air quotes. Because I have issues with people being like broken. It's broken and it can never be repaired. That's fucking bullshit. It's not. I think it's very similar. Shut. Yeah, I was like, I think it's very similar to, you know, people putting their shields up. I think that it's just blocked at that current time. And I think that dragons have the power to do that. Yeah. They just choose not to.
Yeah. What color do you see Irids as regularly? Like if they don't have a shade on?
Me. Kind of like clear. I hate to like
I see it like a white clear.
Yeah. Like a very yeah. That's exactly what, because
right?
if you look at what an iridescent sheen looks like,
yeah,
it is clear in a way so that it can reflect the light, you know. It's very much like an opal.
This is a very photo heavy podcast episode.
Yeah, it's okay though. Yeah, that's valid. Like I was like, it's very like
very
like
reflective.
An opal.
Yes,
like an opal.
Exactly.
Like a lot of people say, like opals are very iridescent in a way, and so
that's
like
exactly what I think.
She's like that white, clear kind of opal-y,
which is
color.
Sounds so gorgeous.
Yeah, beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. But you know, she wants to fit in, and it's very interesting when you see Violet and Darna next to each other to see how much they are alike and how much they do influence each other, because in a certain way Violet does that with her power. She wants to be, she openly says, oh, I want to be as strong as they are, I want to be as ruthless as this person, or I want to do this, and you know, and Darna follows suit and does that and changes herself and almost loses herself because she's not confident in who she is. And that's the thing, is when Violet is more confident, you see her shine a lot more.
Yep.
And the idea of letting somebody else rule your self-consciousness is something that she needs to let go of. You know, she needs to let go of the idea that her happiness is dependent on somebody else. She needs to make and create her own happiness that aligns with her values, because you're never going to be happy if your values are not aligned.
And that's why I think book 4 is going to be really important for her own personal character growth. And
I'm very excited for book 4 and everything that happens. I think it's going to be really, really good.
Yeah. And now, you know, I'm excited to see how Xaden, because I mean, you know, it's been stated that it's going to be his villain era. So I'm excited to see what
his villain era. I'm so sorry.
That means.
If it's lame, I'm going to call it lame. It's fine.
So we're hoping that it won't be lame.
I know.
We're hoping that it'll be really an I think it will be at least interesting. And it's also now the Venom are going to have a dragon. And maybe. Dragons all of them.
We'll see. We'll see how that pans out.
We'll see.
I think that's it for what we had for our spoiler section.
That was a good conversation.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming and tuning in. And listening and subscribing. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, download, hit all of the buttons. Please sign up for our email list. We'd really appreciate it because all of that has our special behind the scenes footage and Q&As and polls and things like that. So we're very excited to get that up and going, as well as we do have a Buy Me a Coffee. So if you'd like to support our podcast in any way, shape, or form, that is also available to you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming and joining us. And the last thing that we have to say to you is,
what did the void say to you?